Hi guys, welcome to Improve My Golf, and today is a brand new What's in the Bag. Some of you may notice in previous videos, probably over the last 2 to 3 weeks, I have been playing with a different set of irons. And for me, that's quite rare because I only changed in, I think I changed in May I changed in May. So to change again is very, very rare for me because the clubs I had previous were 6 years old, so I had them for a long time. I changed from the Callaway Apex Pro with the Project X shaft, and I've moved now to the KBS C-tapered shaft in the brand new Titleist 716 MBs. 2 reasons. I got refitted and I found that the shaft of the KBS C-taper was much better for me because the ball flight came out a tiny bit lower, but it still reached a kind of a really good peak. I was comparing myself to ball flights of kind of Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, and I wanted to kind of maintain a strong trajectory, but I also wanted it to be a very high peak. I wanted the ball to get up nice and high so when it does land on the green, it does stop. Also looking at my spin rates with the Project X compared to the KBS C-taper, my spin rate I've lowered, and I've lowered it quite a lot. I've lowered it kind of around about 500 RPM, which is quite a lot. And in doing so, you could argue as it stopped the spin into the green, but it has actually given me a more penetrating ball flight. So it was quite an interesting change. It was quite a frustrating one for me as well, because it's something that I don't really like to do, is to change clubs too often. The second reason was the Apex Pro. Although when you sat down to set the club up, it did look quite bladey, which was perfect. I love that. But I say quite bladey because it wasn't a blade. And again, I've used the Titleist MB, the 710s, for 6 years, and that is just something that I love. It suits my eye absolutely perfectly. So when I saw the 716s in a golf shop, I just looked at them and thought, there's always that little niggling feeling in the back of me that you should be playing with those. They're the club that you are very used to. That's the club you love the look of, and even just how it sits in the bag, I love the bladed look. So you could almost say it was quite a vain decision from my part that I wanted the clubs to look better in my bag, but I also just wanted to feel a little bit better about them. The Apex Pros, I mean, for the time they were in the bag, performed incredibly. We had a couple of really nice scores, in particular at West Lancs, the regional qualifying for the Open Championship, and obviously we went up to Scotland as well with them. So I did play some good golf, but there was just that something inside of me that just said, you know what, they're not for you, they're not quite for you. Also, the change for shaft was the big one. The ball flight now is a lot better. I went to Tour X, I went to see Nick Hibbs at Tour X up here in the northwest of England, and the one thing I said to him is that I don't want the ball to go further. I'm already hitting the ball further than I've ever hit it, and that for me is still quite difficult to get my head around the distances. And funnily enough, we ended up hitting the ball further. But when you see the figures on the TrackMan, you see that the ball flight, the spin rate's lower, the trajectory gets to a high peak, but it gets there in a stronger flight. And they're just the 3 winners for me. Particularly the lower ball flight, the high peak, the lower spin rate. I mean, that's ideal, absolutely ideal. And I'm not one for, again, everyone's individual, you don't want to be comparing yourself to other people, but I think when you compare yourself to the best players in the world, you want to be somewhere close, and they're obviously doing something right. So these irons got me to that potential. 7-iron for me now is around about a 170 club. In the past it's been about a 160, 165. The 9-iron's the 150 club. The 8-iron's about the 160. I'm hitting the 6-iron around about the 195 mark, and these are all carry. So I mean, obviously with those clubs it's going to drop and stop pretty quickly anyway. But being able to hit the 6-iron around about 195, it makes a lot of the longer par 3s where you see 200, 210, just at 4 and a 5-iron, where some people may have to hit hybrid or 5-wood. So that gives me a distinct advantage on the rest of the field. I've always been able to hit my irons quite a long way. In terms of my game, very quickly, the drive is something I'm working on a lot over the winter because I'm not quite as efficient with the distances in comparison to where my irons are. So I'm going to have a quick look through the bag now. As you can see, they're all there looking absolutely gorgeous. 4-iron to pitching wedge in the 7/16s, the MBs. So I've gone blade throughout the set. I'm going to come to this little 2-iron in a second. The wedges are the same as what you've seen in the past, the 50 degree, the 54 and the 58 degrees. They have been tweaked a tiny bit as well by Nick at Tour X, just to make them a tiny bit stronger, just so the gap between the pitching wedge and the 50 degree wasn't too much. So I've kind of checked the loft angles of the Titleist, and I've just combined that with the wedges that I've already had as well, just to make sure the increments are all pretty much the same. Coming over to this 2-iron. Now then, the Titleist TMB 7/16. This is something I never thought I'd see in my bag. The 1-iron has been, and still is by the way, awesome. That has also been reshafted with the same shaft as what I put in the rest of the club. So the ball flight is very different to what I've been used to. In the past, this 1-iron only had a dynamic gold stiff shaft in it. It was never custom fitted. It was picked up off a mate for 20 quid. I said, I'll take that. I reckon I can hit that. And ever since, the rest is history because it's been in the bag all the time. So now it's actually been properly fitted. And I've got to say, when you put this club down, I don't see much of a club head anymore. The shaft of the club is half an inch longer, so I'm already playing half an inch longer than I'm used to. Because of the colour of the shaft, it looks like a graphite. It's a silver steel. It's a silver shaft. It's just a matted one. And with the shiny head, it looks like the club head is just not there. The distance is ridiculous. This is going around about the 250 mark. The TMB is going around about 230 off the tee, which I think is perfect. The reason this is in the bag is because at 230, I've then got my 3-wood at 260, and then hopefully my driver about 265 at the moment, about 280 plus carry whatever the conditions are like. So that's the only reason this is not in the bag at the moment. It's a little bit, it's going a bit too far. It's going a bit too close to my 3-wood and a massive distance away from my 4-iron. I still absolutely love and adore this. I still hit it on a daily basis here at the range, but in terms of how it goes in my bag, it doesn't quite fit. So maybe when I'm playing a couple of different golfs, if I'm playing some links, I might one day choose to pull out the 3-wood and put the 1-iron in because they are very close in distance. If it's a short links, that's ideal. It depends on my game plan on particular holes. If I want to be able to hit an iron for control and I want to maybe just sneak it past that 230 mark, that's when it'll go in. So I've got options in my bag where I can kind of interchange and I'm comfortable to do so. Briefly just coming on to my fitting with Nick at Tour X. All my irons are half an inch longer, and funnily enough, my static measurement was that I should be standard length, but I just hate the feel of a standard length club. We went to 1/4 of an inch and that felt good. We went to 3/4 of an inch, that felt good. The best results came from half an inch longer. So although my static measurements kind of gave me the guideline of standard, I wanted half an inch longer. And the only reason for that is a few of the numbers were a little bit better, but also the feel, the comfort. Sometimes with a 4-iron, I don't want to feel like I'm over here like this. I want to feel like I can stand up and just really give it a good rip. So I'm comfortable that the length's perfect. The shafts, I love them. They're absolutely brilliant. I've gone for the Stiff Plus in the C-Taper KBS shaft. So it's a 125 gram shaft. It's a lot heavier than what I'm used to in the past, but the ball flight is just incredible. And I suppose the best way to finish this video is with a few ball flights. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, I hope you enjoyed a few of those ball flights. Some are pretty nice. Hopefully you'll agree the trajectory is just absolutely fantastic at the moment. I'm really enjoying hitting those irons. hopefully a lot more to come and a big season next year as well. We have lots to look forward to, Euro Pro Tour qualifying and some big events as well we're going to get ourselves involved with. So guys, please do subscribe to the channel. I hope you've enjoyed this and we'll see you again very soon.